Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Club Junkie podcast. Another week, most exciting day of the week for me, because it's the start of Thursday Night Men's League, and no relation to CPG or Club Pro guy who has his own Thursday Night Men's League. I'm not part of that one. I've applied many times, just keep getting rejected. I think he really questions my handicap, which is a bummer. But no, my own Thursday Night Men's League. Super excited. We're going to talk about it today. So before we get into today's episode, I want to let you know this episode brought to you by Titleist of the brand new Pro V1 and Pro V1X golf balls. We all aspire to outperform the player we were yesterday. This takes practice, commitment, and trusting the golf ball will perform the way you need it to on every type of shot. The new Titleist Pro V1 and Pro V1X are the most advanced yet and will help reward your best swings like never before. Both our models are longer, even more consistent, and feature unrivaled control. The Pro V1 is the best combination of distance, spin, and feel in the game and delivers a more penetrating flight. The Pro V1X, which is the one I'm going to play tonight, flies higher and spins more in the short game while still giving you low spin on longer shots to maximize your distance. So find out more about the new Pro V1 and Pro V1X, including which is the best choice for your game at Titleist.com. So I'm gonna rock probably a little Titleist Pro V1 this evening. But yeah, it's here. I'm ready. It is our first week, the start of Thursday Night Men's League, and it's one of those things I've been looking forward to since we ended in the fall last year, and now we're back. And we started a little earlier. I know some people's leagues start up like maybe next week, beginning of May, whatever. We get after it early. We try to get out there as soon as we can, get a few good weeks before some of these other leagues jump in, because that's always a bummer. And, it's always fun when we get to play some rounds that don't have the league in front of us. The league in front of us is just really slow. They've got a few things that you just shake your head at. They've gotten a little better over the past few years, but they're the type of league who, they're putting out everything, 2-footers, whatever. They're marking their ball on 2-footers and then coming back and putting them, and they just do things like, it doesn't look to be ready golf. They wait to see who's ever back further, and just a lot of things that they just move really, really slow. So we frequently don't start on time, which is a little bit of a bummer, but we get a few weeks early in the year that we don't have to worry about that. We get out a little early, we can play quick. It's a blast. So tomorrow should be good. I've been checking the weather like religiously on my phone. I can't help it. And but tomorrow is we've got a little rain tonight, but it'll hopefully clear up and just be kind of a cloudy day with almost 70, even at like we tee off at basically about 4:45 is our first tee time, I think, or 4:50, and then our last tee time is at 5:30, and even by like 8, maybe we shouldn't take that long, but 7:30ish, it should be still almost 70 degrees, high 60s. So hoping that happens, hoping the rain, does happen in the morning, is done by 9 a.m. It's only like a 30 or 40% chance in the morning, but hopefully that'll be get done out of our way. I'm gonna keep checking, and even if it does rain a little bit, that's probably not gonna stop me. I'm still gonna go play because I'm a degenerate and I haven't played golf outside since like January 2nd. So like real golf, off grass or whatever. So super excited, and I'm one of those people who especially the first round, I absolutely I think I eagerly agonize over what I'm bringing to the course for that first round, because the first round you have no idea. The expectations are not high. I'm expecting to shoot a very high number, lose to whoever I'm playing, and which I need to check. I don't even know who I'm playing this week. I looked it up like last week or whatever when I was helping our commissioner kind of get some scoring stuff going. And I looked, and then I completely forgot. I don't remember who I'm playing today, but got to sit there and figure out who I'm playing. I'm probably going to lose to him because I'm probably going to shoot a high number, and I think I am. I'm the second lowest handicap in the league. I think there's a guy who's technically a 4.5, and I'm a 5 or something like that, and on 9 holes. I don't know if it actually uses like the real algorithm for your handicap, and it rounds pretty much up. So if you're like a Or, I mean, I think it rounds down. If you're like a 5.9, I think you're still a 5. If you're a 4.8, you're still a 4 or whatever. They don't do halves, of course, because you can't really do halves on the card. But anyway, so handicap-wise, I think I'm the second lowest. My boy Jim Thomas, who's the most consistent golfer you've ever seen. Just hits it dead straight every time. Doesn't hit a long ways, but he hits it dead straight every time. The guy just makes a billion pars. Never makes a mistake. He just plays well. He's got me beat. And but I'm gonna go out there and probably lose, which is fine. But we'll see. And I'm gonna have a blast. And I agonized over what clubs I'm bringing, and I overanalyze it, and I'm overthinking it, and I'm thinking of every spot in the bag. So it's gonna be interesting. We're gonna see. I want to do kind of my what's in the bag for the first night. I don't. Some things I think were actually a lot of it. I think is kind of probably unexpected. If you kind of known what I've talked about is kind of what my gamer quote unquote set is, or what spots in my bag maybe have, like if I had to go play, what would I play? This is a little different than that. So I'm gonna throw a few curveballs in there. There's one spot that I'm still, man, I'm really kind of torn on. I've got a club in the in my like bundle over here. It's not in the bag at the moment, but it will be. It was in the bag when I put it all together and then pulled it out too, so I can show it here on YouTube. But yeah, one spot in the bag that I'm still really iffy on. The top of the bag is always weird at St. Clair Shores. So I play my league. If you're new and just listening, this is the first time you're hearing about my Thursday night league. I live in Metro Detroit, and I play in a league that is in St. Clair Shores. It's a course called St. Clair Shores Golf Course, or Golf Club, or whatever it is, something like that. It's a golf course. It's a public course. It's a short track, not very long, especially the front nine. And actually, the front nine has the longest hole in the course on it. But but other than that, it's a pretty short front nine. The whole course overall is pretty short. It's always in really good shape. I give them credit, for as much play as it gets, and it's a heavily played public course. It really is usually in decent shape. They keep the greens rolling pretty well. The past couple of years, you can tell they've had kind of like every course has had kind of a little bit of a struggle to have enough employees to really keep the course as nice as it. Like COVID kind of knocked out a lot of people, and they don't have as many people back in terms of taking care of the course. So the past 2 years, you've noticed that the ball mark type thing on the green has gotten a little worse. And I think now I think what the story was they actually came out and actually fixed a lot of that stuff, and now they don't have the resources to do, or the people to do it. And all those idiots who don't fix ball marks, who I just don't know how you don't do it. All those people don't fix their ball marks, and you tend to see more left around the green. So I'm one of those people. I'm always trying to I'm trying to find my ball mark. If I can't find one that my ball made, that even though I think it did, I'm gonna go around and try to fix one or two or three. Whatever time I've got, I'm gonna try to fix a couple. But that's the only thing I've noticed. They actually improved the bunkers. If you're somebody who's listened to this show for a while, my biggest complaint on the course is the bunkers. The bunkers in there have been absolute trash for years. Majority of them are just rock hard. They're not. There's about 5 millimeters of sand, and then it's just cement underneath. So it's just they're usually pretty brutal. Where I have a sand game that I kind of have some confidence in. I feel like I'm a decent sand player, and I hate getting in the sand over there because you just don't know what your lie is going to be. And if it's on one of those rock hard sections, you basically have to play you almost have to play the press the wedge forward to take all the bounce out of it and kind of almost nip it out of there to get it out. I had 1 year where this par 3, number 12, I hit it in the back bunker. I must have hit a ball long and then came back either the next week or 2 weeks later, hit it long again into that bunker. Both times I remember I basically kind of opened the wedge up a little bit because I was short-sided and didn't have a ton of green to work with. Tried to splash it out, bladed it basically over the green, and the next week I was like, you know what? I'm not falling for that again. I'm getting steep. I'm getting down under it. And I came straight down under the ball, did the exact same thing. It was impossible to get a ball out of. But they have improved a lot of the bunkers. They've added some sand. They're not PGA white, powdery sand, type thing at the moment, but they're definitely much better than they were a couple years ago. Hopefully that stays. And yeah, it's of course it's got some water on it. You can put up a decent, if you're not hitting it well, there's a couple holes can bite you and you can hit it in the water, and there's some bad spots that you can get to. So it's not, it's easy, don't get me wrong. If you're somebody who goes out there and you're like a scratch player, you're not going to have any problem with this course. Unless I guess you don't know it. There's a couple holes that if you don't know where the water or the trouble comes into play and you do miss it just a little bit, I guess it could get you. But for the most part, you're going to be all right. But we're going to play front nine, which is fine. But front nine, I usually only hit driver on one hole, and that's number 8. It's the par 5, the only one that I usually hit driver on. So unless I'm playing really crappy, and then I may pull driver on and by that time it doesn't matter. I may pull driver on 6 or something like that. 6 and 9 I may pull driver on just because I'm just pissed off. But for the most part, I don't pull driver until 8, which is the par 5, and then I hit hybrids and irons and fairway woods off the tee everywhere. So the top end of the bag is a little interesting because there's clubs I want to put in there and play, but there's also clubs that they kind of don't make sense on the front 9 to play. So I don't know. The 3-wood is the one that I may flip-flop. I don't know. We'll see. That one could be the one that I make a game time decision and change, but right now I'm going to go with what I've got. But we'll start at the top end of the bag because that's the one, like I said, that's going to be used the least. And with driver, I went a little different because I actually, at this point, I know I'm only going to hit it once, twice, maybe 3 times at the most on the course. I guess I could hit it on one if the wind is dead into us and it's strong. Maybe I hit driver there. So I might hit it there. I don't hit on 2, 3, 4. 5's par 3. 6, I may, if I'm playing really bad, I'll try to bomb it down down the dog leg and have a small wedge in. Then I hit it on 8, and then again, if I'm playing absolutely terrible, maybe I hit it on 9. But realistically, if I'm playing decent, I only hit it on 8, and that's the only shot. So I brought something that I was like, hey, you know what? I put a bunch of different clubs in the bag. I've got a very diverse section or diverse bag. So we'll start off with driver, and at this point, I was like, it's a driver I want to hit more. I've only hit it on the range, and let's add something that it's a brand that I don't have in the bag at the moment. So I'm going driver. I'm going Srixon ZX5 LS. So the low spin ZX5, we're rocking that at driver. It's a 10.5 head. I've got the adapter setting in the standard loft in flat. So it's a flat setting, still set at 10.5. And the thing looks really good. It's a good looking driver. It sits kind of open when you set it on the ground. The matte black crown looks pretty decent. It's a little round and bubbly for some people's eyes, but it's a good driver. I hit it actually pretty well in the range. I thought the ball speed was really good. So let's see how it goes on the course. We'll go ahead and rock that. I do have a Fujikura Motore XF3 6X in it. This is a shaft I had. I think I put this shaft in one of the adapters back with the previous ZX5 and ZX7s. So I popped it in here, and we're going to go. Usually I do, I was thinking about putting something different in here and going with all fit. I just hadn't switched over the adapter yet. So I could do that. The shaft could change, but I'm going with this head. I'm going with ZX5 Mark II, the ZX5 LS head. So we're going to go the low spin head and see. I'm a huge fan of the ball speed this thing creates. We'll see how forgiving it is on that couple swings. But I figured, for the little amount it's going to get used, let's toss it in, and we'll basically make a bag of a lot of different brands. So we're going to go pretty heavy on brands here. But I'm pretty excited to hit this thing. I've hit it, I've hit it in the range. Really impressed with the ball speed numbers. Wasn't really able to see 100% where, kind of where it's going and all that. But I'm super excited to try it. And I think the Srixon, these these ZX5 Mark IIs, especially the LS head, could be really, really popular. They could be kind of a little bit of a sleeper. They're a little loud is the only thing. So I would, we'll see outdoors what it sounds like. In a dome, it's definitely loud. Outside, we'll take a look and, we'll take a listen and see how loud it is on those few holes. And if not, hey, it's got a hot melt port, so we'll pop that bad boy open and we could shoot some rat glue in there and quiet her down. But it could be interesting. Low spin head, slightly spinning your shaft, higher launching. I was almost even thinking about setting it in a little lower loft too, to open the face a little bit, which I could still do, but we'll see if I actually decide on doing that. But the ZX5 LS or ZX5 Mark II LS is going as the driver for the first round of the year. And I think a bunch of people probably thought I was going to go either G430 or or one of the TaylorMade heads or Paradigms or whatever. And to be 100% honest with you, the G430 I left at the office and I don't have it. And I think one of the guys in the office is actually hitting it right now, the G430 LST, and the same with the Paradigm. So I don't really have those at my disposal. So the second place kind of one that I was going to hit was I went to the simulator with a couple guys from the league, and I brought Aerojet and I brought the TaylorMade Stealth 2, the standard one, not the Plus with the sliding weight, the standard one, and I was kind of really hitting the standard Stealth 2 pretty good. I saw some good, really good ball speed numbers on their simulator. Hit some, good drives with it. So that was second place. But at the time, I figured, you know what? Let's get a couple brands in here and let's mix it up. So I'm gonna go with the ZX5 Mark II LS 10.5 with the Fujikura Motore X F3 6X. So that's gonna be driver. And then when we go to 3-wood, this is the one where I don't know what I want to do here, because what I'm going to bring, at least right now, I just don't know if it fits the front nine at St. Clair Shores. But it's going to be the new TaylorMade burner, the BRNR. The BRNR, the burner, the copper one, the new one. And it's got a really cool look. I do have to say, the copper on the top is pretty awesome. It looks, like right now in my basement, it looks jet black. When you take out the sunlight, you could definitely see the copper tones on it. It's just got the cool retro old TaylorMade logo on the crown. Everything about it is just kind of cool. And the only downside to it is they sent an 11.5 head, and I really kind of wish, if I was to kind of look at this really for my game, I'd probably go 13.5. One, launch is a little higher. Two, I feel like it would be a little shorter, and that's the issue I run into. If this thing is driver long, which I'm assuming it probably is, as it's called a mini driver, I just don't know where this fits in my bag for me. And without hitting it yet or anything like that, is it, a fade driver compared to a draw, or a fade mini compared to a draw driver and all that. And then also people ask, like, can you actually hit it off the deck? And it's, the sole's supposed to be designed to actually hit the ball off the deck. I've never been really good with hitting really deep face 3-woods off the deck. So it'll be interesting to say if on hole 8 I do hit a drive out there and I've got, a 230-yard shot into the green. Do I pull this and try it? I don't know. I don't know if I have the stones to do it. But I've set it one click higher, so we'll try to get it up a little bit. I think it makes it like 12.2 degrees if, it's measured out to 11.5 and we don't know. And then I did pull the shaft they sent us, which is that UST Pro Force Gold. They sent it to us in a regular flex, so I wasn't going to hit that. So I've actually snagged out, and here's the other part of it of like how to build this thing. I put a Nippon Regio Formula B Plus 75X in here out of a 3-wood that I had. So it's got, like, when you look at the hosel, the adapter on it, it was like an old TaylorMade one with the plastic sleeve. It all melted when I pulled it many years ago, and so now you can't really tell what it is, but until you pull the whole thing out, the sleeve, and you can see where the markings are. But I set it one click higher in terms of loft, and I went a little bit shorter. This thing here is going to play basically right at about 40. I think 43 when retail I think is like 43 and like a half or something like that. So it's a touch shorter, heavier shaft. But this is kind of a low. This is kind of Nippon's low launch, low spin graphite shaft, and the 75X here I think comes in a little heavier. I don't remember exact specs, but I want to say it's like in the high 70s in terms of weight. I know the MB Plus that I play in my 7-wood is a 75X, and it comes in at like 79. That thing's pretty heavy. This, I think it's a little bit lighter than that, but not a ton. But this is kind of it's supposed to mimic the Modus 120, so low launch, kind of lower launch, lower spinning. It's not bad, though. I mean, it's really not a crazy. I would say this is kind of mid-low launch. In terms of spin, I haven't hit a ton of 3-woods with it on a launch monitor, to be honest, so I don't really know how low spin it is. But if you haven't hit one of these Regio Formula M+, B+, or MB+, they're probably some of the smoothest shafts on the market that I've hit in terms of, all the OEMs. You go out there and hit these things, and this thing is super, super smooth. The grip on it is a piece of crap Royal. I think they call it like not the sand, but they call it like something else, but it's terrible. I ran some sandpaper over it today. I really should regrip it before I go, but it's not that bad. I ran some sandpaper over it, and then I also ran some hand sanitizer, which I found is interesting. If you have a grip and you need to go play, you don't have time to regrip it or anything. It's hand sanitizer that's mostly based like alcohol based. You rub that on here, take a little like brush, even like a toothbrush, to kind of like scrub it in there. It actually brings some life back to grips. I started doing that during COVID when we had just hand sanitizer everywhere. And I was like, oh, there's alcohol in here. It should break down some of the hand oils and stuff that get embedded into the rubber, and it does work. So I did that, and it's got a little more life left to it, but not a ton. But this one's going to be the interesting one. If at the last second, when I'm walking out the door, I just decide this isn't a go, because, again, I just don't, if this is driver long, again, and I think it will be, where does it fit in the bag? Because I'm not going to hit it on any holes. I'm just not going to hit it that much if it's that long. Maybe on hole one, and then maybe you'd hit it on, they said you're going to hit it on 8, or you're not, because you're going to hit driver on 8. So then again, you hit it on 6, you hit it on 9. I mean, there's just a couple holes where this could be into play. So, and I'm going to leave it stock with heavy weight in the back, lightweight in the front. Again, trying to just kind of make that loft get up there, make it spin a little bit. But we'll see. This is either going to go in there. If this, for some reason, at the very last second, I don't put it in the bag, then I'm going Callaway Paradigm Triple Diamond, 15 degree, standard 3-wood head. I really like that thing. And I've got a Fujikura Speeder NX70X in that, and that plays at like 42 and a half, 42 and 3/4. It's a little short as well, but that's the thing that I've hit really well. As soon as I hit it at the range, I kind of knew this thing was really going to be really good. So this is the only one that could maybe jump out, but it's going to be one of those two. If this doesn't goes, the Triple Diamond's going in right after it. So we'll see. But right now, we're going to put the burner in there. Either one, like I said, either way, I'm not, whatever goes in there in this spot, it's not going to get hit a ton. So it's just one of those things. But the burner is pretty cool. It's brand new. I want to hit it. I want to see what it's like. I mean, I almost thought about, do I leave driver out and just play this? And I thought about it, but then I didn't know what other club I'd put in the bag. I mean, I guess I'd go this 3-wood, and then this 3-wood, and then down to the next club. So I guess I could do that, and drop the Strixon, but I don't know if I necessarily want to do that. So we'll see. But this is the one that's kind of on the fence, and a Paradigm Triple Diamond, 15 degree, set neutral, standard will be in its place if it doesn't. The only thing, I just kind of want to hit the burner, so that's the reason why it's kind of there. The next one here was kind of tough as well, because I've got a lot of options at basically my 3-iron. I was a guy who all last year, pretty much played a 7-wood. I played a PXG Gen 5 0311 XF 3-wood. Really liked it, hit it really well, and then beginning of this year, end of last year, I got the G430 Max 7-wood and hit that really well. And I hit those two, I think, in a show just a little while ago. And I hit that show, and like the numbers were, almost identical between the two clubs. So I was going to take one of those two, and then I just recently, did a show on the Mizuno Hybrid, the STZ 230. I was going to take that. I really love the look of that thing. It looks really great. And while I was sitting there, I said, I could bring that. That would add a different club into the bag, different, brand into the bag, and have something different. But I was like, the one club that I don't want to say I forgot about it, but I kind of forgot I had it and was messing with it. It was kind of in one of my bags in the kind of back closet of my shop there. And I said, it was one that I hit really well on the range when I first got it. I haven't done a show on it, I don't believe yet, but I hit it pretty good, and I want to hit it some more, and that would be the Callaway Paradigm. So the standard Paradigm Hybrid, this is a 21 degree head, and I've got it set -1 standard. So it should play at 20. Standard, instead of the draw, the more upright setting, this is just going to be the standard. And the Paradigm, I do have to say, I really like the shape of this thing. Hitting it on the range, hitting it off the mats, it was pretty darn easy to get up in the air, to elevate. The numbers didn't seem like it was going crazy, crazy long. And part of that just might also be, I hit a lot of things with this hazardous silver, the Project X hazardous silver, what it is shafted with is a 75 gram hazardous silver in stiff. I hit a bunch of, I've hit the 3-woods with this, I hit a driver with this, and I really haven't hit anything with this shaft that great. And I was going to reshaft it, and then I was like, I don't need to reshaft it right now. I do have kind of some all-fit stuff that I think works with the hybrids. I know it works with fairways. I think it's hybrids. It will work with as well. And I have a Ventus that I could toss in here with this. So this was kind of a thought, or this was, kind of high on the list, and once I remembered, I kind of had it, and I was like, yeah, I do want to hit this thing. I love the shape. It's big enough where you look at it and you go, man, it's got enough forgiveness there, and forgiveness where if you do miss it, you should get away with some shots. It's kind of like a mini fairway wood looking club. The face is deep enough where you can hit it off the tee, but I think the face isn't so deep where you can't hit it off the deck if you need to. Not really going to be a club I think I'm going to need to hit off the deck. Even if I rip driver on 8, I don't think I can get close enough to use this unless it's like crazy downwind. Then maybe I could hit driver hybrid, maybe get it under the green. But for the most part, this is going to be off the tee on probably 2, 3, 4. I think it'll be. If 4 is into the wind, yeah, and then 6 and 9, will be the ones that I probably hit this off the tee on. But something I really like I said, down to 20 degrees, gapping wise should be pretty darn good. This is basically my 3 iron replacement. When I've had stuff like I played the Cobra, King Tech Forged, I played the Apex UW. The UW ended up going too long, so I had to pop that out. But the Apex Forged, or the Apex Forged, the Cobra King Tech Utility, or King Tech Hybrid. This thing here off the tee is like 220-ish, maybe 220, 225 at the most. And then off the deck is a little bit less than that, like most things. But this one here, I'm pretty interested. I really like the sound. I like the feel. I think the face is pretty hot on it, and it gets up in the air pretty quick. And this is the smaller one. There is a Paradigm X, which is even a little bigger, but this is the smaller one, and it's for me plenty big. I think it definitely has a good look to it. It's definitely larger than the Mizuno. Definitely larger than like the TaylorMade Stealth 2 Plus. Those is definitely bigger than that. So should offer a little bit more forgiveness, but it's something that I kind of forgot I had, and now that I remember I had it, I can't wait. I'm excited to hit it and take it out on the course and actually see what it can do. The only thing I'm kind of a little bit hesitant on is I don't love the shaft that's in it. At least I haven't found a ton of success at the range hitting the hazardous silver. So we'll see how that goes, but excited to hit the Paradigm 3 hybrid. I think this is a 3 hybrid, or maybe they just go by 21 degrees, or that would be usually a 4 nowadays. The 21, I think, used to be a 3 back in the day. It's now a 4, but I'm going Paradigm in the hybrid. So then we get into the irons, and for my 4 iron, I've been playing a utility iron for forever. I've swapped between a bunch. Huge. I love the Ping eye crossover. When I hit it end of last year into this year, just super easy to hit. It's one of those crossovers. It's the one that I've hit the best off the deck out of any crossover or any utility iron that I've hit. Now, I've hit a handful of them. I haven't hit every one of them, but I've hit a handful, and it's the one I've probably hit the best off the deck out of all of them that I've tried. But I'm going to try something new because it's one, again, that I took to the range, and strictly by numbers, it gets beat by the eye crossover for me at the moment. But I want to see what the course it's like, and that would be the new Cobra King Tech Utility. So the new one that they've come out with. This is the 4 hybrid there. I think it's 22 degrees. And on the range, I was hitting this thing pretty good. I was hitting this side by side with that crossover. Hit it pretty solid. Actually can hit it off the deck pretty well, at least off a mat. We'll see how I can do it off grass. But this primarily is going to be a tee club. I'm not going to hit this thing a whole lot off the turf. There's just doesn't set up unless, who knows, hole 1 I could like top a drive and be a ways out there or really miss hit one and need to hit this off the deck. But hopefully I won't need to hit this thing off the deck too often, if ever. But this thing's been pretty good on the range. I'm excited to try it on the course, see how it really performs with a real ball and all that, off real lies. And then this thing's got the Mitsubishi MMT 80 hybrid, the HY, the hybrid stiff shaft in it. So this is what I was hitting on the range. The eye crossover's got that Tour 85S. This thing here, same weight, all that. And no, it performs really well. The ball speed's really good. I tell you what, the sound and feel in this, way better than the eye crossover. The eye crossover is just kind of tingy and loud and firm. This thing's a little softer. It's got a little more muted sound to it, and overall I've been a big fan of it on the range. It'll be interesting to see what it really does on the course, but excited to get this thing out there and give it a whack. This one was tough. I was going to do eye crossover, and I was like, man, but I've hit that on the, I've already hit the thing on the course, and I know I like it. Let's bring out something new and give it a little run, and we'll see how it stacks up. because the only way we're going to find out is taking the stuff to the course. So here it is, and we're going to go with the King Tech utility as the 4-iron. And it then gets to get paired up with a set of irons. And I think all week I was pretty much set on I was going to take the Vegas, the Mizar Tours. Like, that was just going to be the set I bring. Why not? It's kind of the set that I would consider my gamers, whatever, at the moment. I've kind of told you guys that a lot. And then I kind of sat there and said, you know what, this is going to be the first night, the first day of men's, of this league. I haven't played on grass in a couple months. Who knows what's going to happen? So let's go a little more forgiving, and let's go with something that's going to give me a little more, let me get away with a few shots. So we're going Ping I-230s. Yep, we're going the I-230, which I really like these irons. I hit them a bunch kind of was it the end of last year, I think? Beginning of this year, end of last year, I hit these a lot. And they're just, when you set them down, they look pretty good. They're big. They're not like a tiny little blade, but and they don't have crazy high ball speed. They're not like just speed machines like some other irons out there. But if you're looking for an iron that when you set it down kind of looks like a player's iron, it's very consistent. It doesn't have any crazy hot spots or anything like that. This is your iron. I mean, it's something that you can walk up, you can hit. If you want to hit different shots, you can hit different shots. I mean, these things are played on tour. You can work the ball however you want. If you need a little help when you do miss it, you're going to get it. They're pretty stable on miss hits, and they offer a pretty neutral ball flight. So these things here shafted up with Nippon Modus Tour 105s in stiff. And when the 105 first came out, I never really loved it. I don't know why. I just never got along. I always felt like it launched really, really high and spun a ton. For whatever reason, this combo, I've kind of fallen in love with the 105 a little bit. I've liked the lighter steel shafts. I'm not... I'm 42 years old. I don't need to be playing 130-gram shafts anymore. So this thing's pretty light, and I've hit it really well in these heads. So the combination of that shaft, which is, again, the 105 is kind of the mid-launch shaft in the Modus line. This and the 125, being the heavier option, but those both kind of the little stiffer handle sections, mid-launch, and I've hit this thing pretty well in these irons. So these are, and that's why I went with them. I decided, let's put something in there that's just going to help me. If I miss some shots, which I'm going to do, I'm going to hit some squirrely balls, why not go with something that's going to just help me out, give me a little forgiveness, let me get away with a few things, and hopefully, I can get a few balls either, on the front of the green or just in front of the green or whatever when I'm hitting those misses. And the Mizar Tours are really good. They really are forgiving. The faces for how compact that head is are really hot. The ball jumps off the face and goes. So there's no knock against those. It's just, these offer a little bit more stability when you don't hit it dead center. And again, if you're watching this on YouTube and you look, you can see that my wear pattern on there is definitely not dime sized. It's kind of concentrated more in the middle, but it's got a little out there in the toe and a little in the heel. I've gotten a little of everything. But these are, black dot I-230s. I'm going to play 5 through wedge in these. So 5 through pitching wedge. 4-iron will be the Cobra King Tech utility. So that's going to be my iron setup. And I like it. I do have the 4-iron for the I-230, and I thought about putting that in, again, instead of the crossover, but I just, in those 4-irons, those longer shafts, those longer clubs, I kind of like hitting a lighter shaft. I like kind of going graphite in that 80 to 90 gram range. I just feel that at that weight, being a little lighter, I control it a little better. I can swing it better. I don't feel like I have to swing as hard, and, it's just overall, I feel like I get a little more control. So I do have the 4-iron to this set. I'm not going to bring it. I don't think it's actually ever hit a ball. I think it's been sat in a bag the whole time. But it was tough. I was going to go with, I was going to go the Mizar Tours. These. The other one that I thought I was going to sneak in there, which I don't even know if I've told you guys I have them yet, and not that anybody probably, realized, but I was going to toss in the Tour Edge, the 723 Pros, the kind of the cavity back, their forged cavity backs. I was going to throw those in there, but then I was like, well, why am I really putting in something that's going to be so difficult to hit? So kind of last second, I swapped those out, threw these in. The other one I was going to hit the Cobra Forge Tech blacks because I have those, but I just don't love the long irons in those are just they have too much offset, and I don't love looking at them even from 5-iron down. Just not a big fan. So 230s it is, and I think that's going to be a good option. I think it's going to let me get away with some shots, and I think it's going to help me play a little better when I'm probably guaranteeing that the swing isn't going to be amazing. So those will be the irons. And then we get into wedges, and I'm going to have a hodgepodge of wedges. I have 3 different brands for wedges. So the first one is going to be the oldest club in the bag, the carryover from last year. And that's going to be the Milled Grind 3, 52 degree, which I bent to 51, I think. Or 50. No, 50. It's bent to 50. Maybe I'll double check it tonight before I get going. But yeah, 50 degree MG3. It's a 52 high bounce, bent to 50. And I've just really liked this thing. The MG3 wedges, for me, I hit them when they first came out. I didn't really, they didn't blow me away or anything like that. And then I started playing them more for some reason. I pulled them out, went out and played with them, and I ended up playing the 50 and the 56 majority of the end of last year. Just really liked them. I think the full sole on the 56, and that one there's I think a high bounce as well. Just hit them really well. Good turf interaction. They're soft. The raw faces spin pretty good out of pretty much any lie. And then each one of them is shafted with a BGT Zone or ZNE, a breakthrough golf technology, the Zone wedge shaft. So this one's got the 115 in it, and then the 56 has the 130 in it. And these shafts are really good. They're really consistent. I feel like they do add a level of accuracy to those 2 wedges. They do fly a little higher, so if you're somebody who is looking for accuracy, but you're also wanting a flat, low ball flight, I did notice that these things do fly higher than like the Modus 125 wedge, which is what I was using before this, but it flies a little higher than like KBS 610 or anything like that. It's got a little more height to it, which in the 50 I don't mind, because with that I'm hitting a lot more fuller shots or 3/4 to fuller shots. I will chip around the greens with this if I'm just off or something like that, but for the most part I'm hitting a little more full shots on this with this bad boy. But I really liked it, and I honestly didn't have a 50, like a new like 50 or 52 that I really had to put in the bag. Everything that I've had in terms of gap wedge has been kind of older. Last year's, I thought about, what did I have? I did have the Bettinardi wedges that I have those, the HX, the new HX, what are they, the H like 5.0s or whatever they are. I had a 50 in there, but I've already reviewed that. I've already played it. So if I was going to put something Old Faithful in, we'll at least have one old wedge in the bag. So we'll go with that. And then 56, I decided to go, which again, this one was kind of I thought about just going all old wedges, just putting my standard wedges in. And then I was like, you know what, let's do something different. And we're going to go with the RTX 6, the Cleveland RTX 6, 56 midsole. So this is a 10 degree bounce, but it's still got a little wider sole to it. And then the face on this has the RTX 6 grooves, which when you see it in person, the milling on the face on this thing is pretty darn aggressive. So I'm pretty excited to see how this thing spins out of the rough, out of, other lies than just off a mat. But the face is pretty aggressive. The toe is crazy aggressive because they expect you're not going to really hit it there. It's just kind of there, I think, for show. But all the laser etching and milling on the grooves in the middle of the club are really nice. This one is the matte black finish. But these RTX 6s, of course, look pretty good. The leading edge is a hair more rounded than I would really love. I'd love it just a touch straighter, but overall it's a really good look. I'm excited to hit this thing. I think it's got the sole grind on it, the mid bounce. It's got a little bit of trailing edge relief, a little bit of heel, a little bit of toe, but just enough where you can open it up and still have a good amount of bounce out of the good amount of bounce for float in the traps, and to get through the rough. Where still, having that relief where you can open the face, and the leading edge is going to come up a little bit, but nothing that up here you're going to worry about, especially this early in the year when the fairways and stuff aren't going to be mowed super, super tight. I mean, they're never tight anyway, as tight as some places, but they're never going to be that super tight this early in the year. So I figured, a little more bounce, a little more sole on this thing can probably only help. And then in the soft conditions, this thing here, and even though it says 10, it seems like it's got way more bounce than that. I bet if you measured this thing, I bet it's up near like the 12s and even into 14s. It's got a decent amount of bounce to it. So wet conditions, soft conditions, all that, it should play pretty well, should get decent turf interaction, and it should spin the ball, I would think, pretty darn well. So we'll see how that goes. But excited to hit those, hitting them on the range. I mean, they got good feel to them. They're soft. The RTX 6, I think, the feel and all that, and they seem to have a little bit of cover in the groove, so I'm thinking that they're pretty sharp, and they're going to do a little damage to to some golf balls. Not near as bad as the old box screws, but, they may do, they may take a little bit of color off there. And then finally, I'm going to do the 60. I'm going with the new, the Adele SMS wedge, and I'm going with the new P grind. So this is the newest grind from them. It came out right around, just after the PGA show. So I've had this, for a couple weeks now, and I've hit some shots at the range with it. I just have not been able to get it on the course. And the P grind sole has a little bit of, heel relief down near the heel, a little bit of toe relief. The trailing edge is just slightly rounded off. It's not crazy, but this is one of those wedges that if you're somebody who likes to play the super wide open flop shot, you're not going to go with the P grind. You're probably going to go with the C or one of the other grinds they have that are lower bounce. This one here, when you open it, it's going to get that leading edge off the ground. But I feel like, again, for the conditions that the course is going to be in, being a little longer, being a little more lush, being a little softer, I think having a little more sole is just going to be nice to kind of get through the turf and play that. I think, having this little wider sole, it'll kind of glide along the more fairway cuts and more fringe cuts a little nicer without trying to dig, and you'll be able to kind of play some shots around the green with it. These things feel phenomenal. They're extremely soft. I would say they're as soft as any other kind of premium forged wedge out of the market. But these things are really soft, and they do play well. It's got the SMS screws in the back, where you can the swing match system, so you'd have a heavy weight and two lighter weights. I found that the weight in the heel has worked better for me. I found it in the irons, which I know I'm going to talk about soon. Those I'm really excited to get on the course as well. They've got kind of a cool, unique sole, so I'm excited to get those on the course. But this one here, I'm excited to get out there, and this has got a Modus 125 wedge in it. So super excited to play this thing and hit some shots. This thing also does have the kind of full face grooves on it, which I like in my lob wedge. I know some people are not big fans of. I like the full face grooves in a lob wedge because I'm going to open the face just a little bit on a lot of shots. I'm going to play it square, but I hit a lot of shots kind of up out in the toe, a little higher up on the face with my lob wedge. And having that real estate where I know I'm going to get a little more spin, a little more control out of it, I'll take that every time. So this one here, really good look. It's definitely a slightly different look in terms of the wedge. It looks a little longer heel to toe. It looks a little stretched out, just a touch. But I like the roundness of it, and I like the fact that the leading edge is just only slightly rounded. There's like almost no offset to it. If anything, I'd almost consider the leading edge like with some onset. It's just a really good looking wedge, high quality. But excited to hit it. I hit the I had a 58. What was it? A 58 like C grind, I think, when they first came out, and loved the feel, loved how soft it was. But it was a 58, and it didn't really fit in my bag where I wanted it to. So this time with this P grind, I actually asked for a 60. He sent a 60, so I'm excited to try this bad boy out and see how it performs. So like I said, wedges, total mix mash. I know that like gives some people anxiety because they need to, they like playing the same 3 wedges or 4 wedges, whatever. They all kind of match and flow together. Yeah, these aren't even the same finishes, so we're totally out there. And then putters. Yes, I said putters, plural. I'm going to bring 2 putters, and I actually do this on a lot of days. When I go to my league, I get there a little early, I go out and I putt, and I just like to putt around, and a lot of times it's either putting with some new golf balls or, just getting some extra putts into the practice green to see how they roll, feel, whatever, or, different putters, whatever. If there's a new putter that I'm going to test, whatever, I'd like to get as many putts as I can with it. So I jump out there early. So I'm going to bring 2 putters, and I'm going to try 2 out, or I'm going to try the first one, then kind of the first spot, and if it doesn't work out, I'm going to move to the second. But the one I'm going to try out, and I know I talked about it on a show a little while ago, but this is going to be the Odyssey Tri-Hot 5K number 7, or the number 7 CH. So the crank hosel, or the plumber's neck, is going to get the nod. And the reason being is I did a review on this on a show a little while ago, and it's a really stable head. It's crazy stable. The feel on it's pretty good. As long as you like a white hot insert, it's pretty darn good. It's soft, it's muted, all that. But everybody has putters in 35 inches, and that's what everybody sends, and that's fine. 35 inches is typically the standard the standard putter for men in a sense. But I'm short. I'm 5'9", so I'm not going to play a 35-inch putter. It doesn't work for me. I play my putters at like 33 inches. So this one here, instead of cutting down the Stroke Lab shaft, I actually had another shaft laying around that I slapped in here. So this is just a step steel shaft that I had that I actually sent off and got SST pured. I sent a couple putter shafts off and had them SST pured just to mess around with there. So I put this thing in its pured position. And this putter here, I'm still... And then I was putting with it down here in my basement on my little putting mat, and I was really liking it. I mean, like I was saying, the stability of it, just through the stroke, the putter feels like it just doesn't want to move. It just wants to stay on line, and I was putting pretty well with it down here. So I felt comfortable with it. I was making some putts down here. My thing it doesn't have a cup; it just has little spots on it. But I was rolling it over those spots. So I glued it up with a shaft, put a lambkin deep etch on here, a gray lambkin deep etch, not the cord, just the standard one. One wrap of tape, nothing extra. And yeah, I putted decent with this thing. And I think moving it down to my length and getting my arms in kind of the position I like, just kind of made this thing feel better. And I feel like I've rolled it pretty decent down here, so it's getting the start. It's going to go on there. And it also doesn't hurt that something with a ton of stability on it is could help me with some putts that don't necessarily find the center of the white hot insert. So we'll go with the Tri Hot 5K 7CH, and the sevens. The one thing I don't like about this putter, I wish they would have made it the smaller size. I think I said that on my review, and I stand by it. I don't love the bigger look. There's just too much putter below the hosel. The heel of it just stretches down too far, and that's the part that kind of gets me on my eye. But I like the triple sight line. There's a sight line on the top, and then two on the fangs. I like how that frames the ball and helps you line up. And again, the stability on it seems really, really good. So this is going to be the one that I'm going to go, start, putting with and see how everything goes. If for some reason things are just absolute disaster and I can't get going with this, we're going to move on to the putter that I stole from my daughter. The Seymour M5HT mallet. This is kind of, again, a little more of a fang shape, and it's got a stability tour shaft that I put in there after I stole it from my daughter and gave her a PXG Clydesdale. So this has got a lambkin deep edge cord, again, about 33 inches on this bad boy, and I mean, it's one of those where the feel on it is really solid. It's kind of an underrated brand, Seymour is, and they've got the cool kind of alignment system where down near the on the heel of the putter, there's kind of two white lines and a red oval, and when you have it lined up square, you see the two white lines and you don't see the red. You're lined up square to your target, and you putt away. So I've never been a big fan of it. I mean, I've always thought that was a cool design. The original hosels, like either the center shafts or straight ins, or they had the double bends, all that, I never really liked the look. They always looked kind of shut to me. They always looked a little like 2 degrees shut. This one here with this kind of plumber's neck version of it definitely sets up better to my eye and looks more square. So I'm going to bring this guy. I've been, again, same thing, putting down here with it. It's been pretty darn good. It's got, both these putters have just about the same, just a little bit of toe hang. Neither one is face balanced for being, kind of a fanged mallet, but the milling work on this thing is really good. If you haven't seen a Seymour putter in a while, check out some of their stuff. They've got some cool milling, and I mean, they do a really nice job with these putters. So the feel and sound, really good, really solid, and I got a nice stiff stability tour in there. So if one of these two hopefully will work when I'm out there, and like I get there a little bit early to hit some putts. So that's what's going in the bag. I'm gonna have my Moto Caddy remote push cart out there with me, and I'm gonna have my typical Callaway Fairway Plus golf bag that's kind of built for push carts. Has my Club Junkie logo on it, and ball wise, I think I'm gonna play the new Pro V1X. I've got some of those down there, so I think I'm gonna play the new Pro V1X and see how that rolls. I've been excited to hit it. I've had a couple white boxes, and I just haven't been able to use them yet, so I'm gonna bust those out and see how they go. But that's my bag, and that's why for the first night of men's golf league. Thursday night men's league is starting up, and that's what I'm playing this week. So we'll see how it goes. I definitely will report back next week of how everything pans out and what worked, what didn't, and we'll go from there. And then the rest of the year, you're probably not going to see the same bag twice again. So we're going to see some different stuff in there, whether it's shaft changes, whatever. Nothing's going to be the same basically throughout the whole year. So yeah, I think that's all I got. All I got for today. I know this has gone on a little long. I never expect like what's in the bags to go that long, and they do. But that's it. And yeah, if you're wherever you're listening to this, if you could like, subscribe, whatever, that'd be awesome. It helps the algorithm of us getting out there and all that, which is great. And then also if you're watching this on YouTube, and I know if you go to YouTube, search Golf the BRX Radio. There's basically, I moved everything to playlists, so there's 3 shows on there, but there's Golf's Perfect Imperfections with Sean Clement, world-renowned teacher, and then this show here, The Club Junkie, and then there's TG2 with me and Tursky talking about tour stuff. So 3 shows, I put them in playlists, so if you want to just listen to one show or another, it's organized now. But yeah, check that out. If you're watching on YouTube, please like, subscribe, all that jazz. Again, it just helps us out a lot. So truly appreciate it. Thank you all for everybody who participated in my Q&A I did yesterday on Instagram. If you're not following me on Instagram, please at Club Junkie Pod. I love doing Q&As, talking golf with you guys, talking some gear. So always fun. And thank you for everybody for sending in questions and all that. It was a blast answering them. And all right, I'm done. That's it. I'm going to finish my day out work-wise, and then it's time to golf. So hopefully you guys have a great week. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. Play some golf, have some fun, and I'll talk to you next week.